Open your ears and lube up your butthole. It's time for the What Do We Call It podcast. Now, here's your host. It's Jmann. Welcome to the What Do We Call It podcast. I'm Jmann. And number one fan Tim is not here because he is on vacation up north, nerding out, playing video games with a bunch of other dudes, and probably not showering enough.
Gross.
So, getting into current events, Kenosha, Wisconsin. Same story, different city, more social unrest. People are rioting and burning down stores as they loot them. The Milwaukee Brewers aren't playing baseball. The Milwaukee Bucks refuse to take the court for Game 5 of their playoff series with the Orlando Magic. People in Portland, who were still losing their minds over George Floyd's May 25th death, are now double pithed after the shooting and paralyzation of Jacob Blake, which doesn't make sense to me because that happened in Wisconsin, not fucking Oregon. I don't understand what you people are so pissed about there. This shit didn't happen to you.
Here we go again.
Mr. Blake is the most recent black guy to suffer during an incident of police brutality. Only this time, instead of kneeling on his neck for 8 minutes, they shot him in the back 7 times while he was doing God knows what, while being arrested for an outstanding felony warrant. Which, by the way, is for third-degree criminal sexual conduct during a domestic abuse incident, because apparently something happened involving a woman's lady parts during who knows what the fuck else was going on. Like, I don't know, maybe he was trying to consummate their union and it slipped and the female involved was none too happy about having a D go up into her shit pussy, who knows.
That's nasty.
So some people online were calling him a child rapist because the charge they displayed all over the internet while trying to slander him involved language from a Rhode Island definition of the law, and we all know that no two states have the same statutes written exactly the same. And I don't want to get into his criminal background too much, lest I be painted a racist for pointing out that people who commit crimes and die or are injured at the hands of police are not always simply victims of circumstance versus their own decisions. But, you know what? Here's a DOJ report of what transpired with the Blake shooting. The Wisconsin Department of Justice Division of Criminal Investigation is looking into the incident of an officer-involved shooting in Kenosha, Wisconsin that occurred on the evening of Sunday, August 23rd, 2020. Kenosha Department officers were dispatched to a residence in the 2800 block of 40th Street after a female caller reported that her boyfriend was present and was not supposed to be on the premises. Which, that right there is fucking confusing because it's your boyfriend, but you don't want him on the premises, or he's not supposed to be there, so now you're narking him out? What the fuck kind of bullshit is that? She is not a keeper. Anyways, during the incident, officers attempted to arrest Jacob S. Blake, age 29. Law enforcement deployed a taser to attempt to stop Mr. Blake from leaving. However, the taser was not successful in stopping him. He walked around his vehicle, opened the driver's side door, and leaned forward. While holding onto Mr. Blake's shirt, Officer Rustin Shesky fired his service weapon 7 times. This was into Mr. Blake's back, and while his children were apparently watching.
Hi.
No other officer fired their weapon, and Kenosha PD does not have any body cameras. Very convenient. And there's nothing to show.
God damn it!
The officer who fired his weapon has been placed on administrative leave, but has been with the department for 7 years. None of that means shit. So I just like to point out that we know who the cop is now. They had to say who it was. Why? Because some self-righteous cock gobbler named Sean King, who people lovingly refer to as Talcum X, because he's a ghost white honky-ass cracker who owns some website where he regularly stirs the pot. So he was trying to out the identity of the officer who shot Jacob Blake. And then basically any information on any officer that they could give was making it out to the world. And then all of Kenosha PD were collectively shitting their pants over fears of having their homes and families attacked for being wrongfully doxxed. So here's my 2 cents on Jacob Blake. The guy's got other offenses. He's wanted on a felony warrant. The cops show up to execute the warrant. Somewheres he admitted to having a knife, and in the video of the incident from somebody else, not the cops, because, again, no body cameras, he gets into a car where allegedly, he was going to call his mom to come pick up his kids. I don't know if that's true or what. So then he leans forward and he reaches for something, and that's when the cop shot him 7 times in the back, which he is now paralyzed and going to need a number of surgeries. So his life is ruined.
Oh, bitch.
Then people immediately lost their shit and were rioting in the streets of Kenosha and other surrounding communities over this incident. And his mother, of all people, got on the news and said, "My son would not want you to loot and burn and riot. You can protest in his name, but don't destroy stuff." Which I love when the family members actually have the presence of mind to say this shit, because she apparently is upset, obviously, but not holding a grudge. And the fucking stores in the city of Kenosha didn't do it. The one cop did. So it's even dumber that you're lashing out against the business community, not the PD. And of all the PD, it's just the one guy. So fucking be mad at the one guy, who I've seen pictures of him online. He's a real dopey, pasty-looking fucker who apparently at one time or another had himself photographed in a bicycle helmet and shorty shorts. I don't know if he fucking rides a 10-speed around going dee-doo, dee-doo, pulling over cars and giving tickets for having too dark of a window tint, but that guy's life is fucked. And all of that has like this echoing across the nation where, like I said, the Milwaukee Brewers are like, yeah, we're not going to play baseball. And then last night, the Milwaukee Bucks were like, we're taking a stand. Black Lives Matter. We're not going to play this NBA playoff game. And then like the league basically shut down for a day or two while they try to sweeten the pot enough, I think, to coax these guys back into playing basketball and making millions of dollars while partaking in a children's game. They're trying to find a better way to make a social statement about what is transpiring. However the fuck you do that when you're a rich-ass professional athlete. And if that wasn't like crazy enough, you know, all of Kenosha, you got Portland that's been in siege for like 90-some fucking days since George Floyd was killed. And I just want to point out that once they released the officer's body cam on George Floyd, there's a very telling screenshot of him with something white on his tongue that they think was fentanyl. So he turns away from the camera, and then after doing that, they get him out of the vehicle and he starts becoming agitated and ill. So they think that he didn't die because of the kneeling on the neck. He died because of a fucking drug overdose and an enlarged heart. Which, holy shit, if those cops get off scot-free because of that, is going to be awesome for them. Shit for everyone else. More complicated still, because the sky is always falling these days. Yesterday in Minneapolis, and it relates to everything else I've talked about. So here's the story. I want you to picture the parking ramp, the A ramp in downtown next to the Target Center, if you've ever been there. It's the good one, not the shitty ones. So some black guy shoots another guy whose race I have no idea of, but I'm sure he was a future leader of the world himself. And he had his aspiring rap career cut short by senseless gun violence and a simple Craigslist waffle iron sale gone wrong. Guy, gal, other guy, something, I don't know. Guy 1 shoots guy 2. And then Triggerfinger Magoo there, he flees the scene with his bottom bitch, only to get cornered by police somewheres else nearby. And they witness him take out a pistol and add some new holes to his head. So here's what happened. He walked past a group of people, ducked up against a store door, pulled a handgun out, and shot himself up under the chin. And then he doubles over. So as that happens, some dick on Twitter films it and gets the rumor going that the police shot him. And the next thing you know, a bunch of upstanding citizens decide to help themselves to all the things the Nicollet Mall Target store had to offer. Free of charge. And it's funny, because the gal in the video who was the last of the group next to this guy when he walks up. So picture a bunch of people hanging out on the street, loitering, up against a store window. Some guy walks up, pulls out a gun, and the cops walk up. The whole group of people flee except for this one gal who must have been fucking baked out of her mind, and she's wearing a white t-shirt, blue pants, and fucking slippers. She's the last one to walk away. You see her on camera, like an hour later, looting at Target.
Oh my god, no way.
Who says the children aren't our future, huh? Now, unpopular opinion here. Looting is not social justice. It's actually the opposite. Social justice is about finding ways to rise above the perceived roadblocks in place to prevent an across-the-board leveling of the playing field. It's meant to promote and seek equality for all, regardless of age, race, gender, or sexual orientation as examples. Looting is just a selfish, dick-headed free-for-all where people will smash the windows out of a store and steal everything they can carry. It has nothing to do with promoting togetherness or tolerance, and it basically just drowns their alleged message in doubts that your cause itself lacks integrity. Now, with all of that shit unraveling downtown, and fear of another 3rd/5th Precinct arsonathon, MPD released a CCTV video of the suicide guy shooting himself, which I gotta say, after seeing a lot of death on bestgore.com, that's bestgore.com, this guy he shoots himself and then he slumps over. That was the CCTV footage. Then there was additional footage that I saw that was actually worth it, where he shoots himself and he falls over and the cops walk up and go, fuck. And they kick the gun that he used out of the way and they start doing CPR on him. And to the best of my ability to see what was going on, even though it was somewhat grainy, every pump of his chest to keep his heart going just makes the blood in his head and chin hole spurt out that much faster. Ew. But he committed murder. So, I mean, in the long run, we saved thousands of dollars in a trial and a jury and media coverage and incarceration fees. So, I mean, kudos there. But anyways, MPD, they released this video trying to quell the lunacy of what's going on downtown, but shit still kept hitting the fan. So now the mayor and the governor together have decided that they're going to set a curfew for tonight in downtown Minneapolis, and that the state patrol, of all people, are going to be involved in enforcing it, because apparently with everybody at home for COVID, there's not a lot of drunk driving, just drunk couch surfing.
Arresting me for what? I'm not allowed to stand up for myself?
So all I gotta say is, I am not cool with the cops using lethal force when it is not necessary. However, if you tell the cops you have a gun or a knife, you're doing what you should do. You're notifying them. But maybe, just maybe, you shouldn't fucking say anything because of the way that, like, Philando Castile died. You don't say that shit. Say, you're going to find something on me when you pat search me, and then keep your hands in the fucking air as long as humanly possible, and then just, like, lay down on the ground nicely and say, don't tase me, bro. And then hopefully nobody kneels on your neck. But also don't be high on drugs, because apparently that can affect your ability to live through the situation also. I don't know. But why is it that every time somebody gets killed by the cops or injured by the cops now, it's like carte blanche to go and just destroy the living shit out of your own community? I don't understand that. Like, I've got a lot going on at work right now, and it's pissing me off. And it's not exactly like anybody's fault. But imagine if I use that as justification to go kick my neighbor's door in and take his TV and then light the bitch on fire. Like, just burn his whole house to the ground because I'm upset. Like a fucking baby does. You ever seen a kid throw a tantrum when they don't get their way and they start kicking all the toys around and throwing shit and hitting people and just flipping the fuck out? That's what this shit reminds me of. Just some kid flipping the fuck out for no good reason. And none of what you're doing is helping. I mean, if anything, you're just further widening the racial divide. And I don't want to say it's just the media, all right? But when I saw the video of what was going on downtown, they did not look like out-of-town troublemakers. And the last thing I'll touch upon is, back to the Blake thing, apparently due to all the shit hitting the fan in Kenosha, people were patrolling the streets with their guns like an armed militia trying to stop the rioting, but really they're just looking for a reason to, like, purge out. So some white boy in a flak jacket from Illinois shows up to Kenosha, and he's got his AR-15, and I don't even know the sequence of events, but he shot 3 people, and one of them in the head and killed him. Somebody hit him with a skateboard. They say they tried to grab his gun. Then other people say, no, he didn't shoot them for trying to grab his gun. he shot them, then they tried to grab his guns. Who the fuck knows? And I don't really care. And anyway, that kid's been arrested for, I think, first-degree murder. So his life is over. He'll get 15 minutes of internet fame, and then he'll end up on the all-dick diet at whatever state prison they fucking send him to. And remember to breathe through your nose. Interact with the show on Twitter at What Do We Call It? That is at What Do We Call It? You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/What Do We Call It? Podcast show. For the What Do We Call It? Podcast, I'm Jmann. And that's the end.